Well, good Monday morning to you, and welcome to our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy with Dr. Jim and Janine Fox of Doctor's Nutrition, located on Cowan Road in Gulfport, just south of Pash Road. They're open Monday through Saturday, Monday through Friday from 10 to 5:30, Saturdays 11 till 2. The doctors are there from on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Dr. Mays is there on Friday and Wednesday.
And
I had
Friday.
to back up. On Wednesday and Friday.
It's Monday.
And anyway, this is the show where it's a live show, so we invite you to call in, talking about, you always talk about things that has to do with helping you to live a healthier lifestyle. Live healthy, be healthy is what it's all about. If you have a question for the doctors, you're welcome to call and ask them personally, or if you don't want to ask to be on the air, you can just leave the question with our operator and they will pass it along to us. Our numbers are 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Kind of started a series a couple of weeks ago on different things that are very important to our bodies that we should consider taking on an everyday basis in some way, shape, or form. We talked about vitamins a couple of weeks ago. Last week, of course, was our Open Line Monday, but this week we're talking about minerals.
Yes.
Right.
So what kind of role do minerals actually play? And I'm sure there's so many different parts for us. I mean, I know it's great for bone health, for one thing.
That's one.
It's
Well,
actually
one of a lot, I'm
it's
sure.
actually essential for life. I mean, you would die without your minerals, and unfortunately, we don't make them. It is something that you have to get from an external source, whether it be food or water or take. So minerals are something the body has to have, but you don't make it.
They're
Interesting.
They're inorganic compounds like calcium, for instance. You know, basically rocks. Okay, been around since the time began, and they haven't really changed form. That's the thing about minerals; they don't change. I mean, calcium's calcium. Okay.
Well, fortunately, we don't have to go around sucking on rocks anymore.
Right,
That's
that's
right.
true. That's not the best way to get your minerals.
Well,
by the
no.
way. But you know, we have to have them. I mean, our heart can't beat without them. We can't regulate the our water balance without them. I mean, our nerves can't function without them. So I mean, there's so much that involved with with the actual minerals themselves. And the biggest problem with it that science has kind of shown us over the past few years, if we do a blood test and say, okay, your calcium level looks pretty good, really doesn't mean that you've got enough calcium in your body. Your body, look at our skeletal system as a repository. I mean, it's just a place that we store a lot of stuff. Calcium's one of them. And what happens is the body will take minerals that it needs and it'll steal it. If it needs it, it'll actually steal it from the bone to keep it in the bloodstream. So when you look at your calcium level in your blood, you say, oh, I've got plenty of calcium. Maybe not. You have to have enough to actually fulfill the bone density itself, keep that dense and healthy, and keep the body functioning.
Well, it's important as we're when we're young and as we're growing for the calcium, for bone. But as the older that we get, I mean, one of the things that you hear so much of it, especially with women, is the problems with osteoporosis because of
it's a growing epidemic.
Exactly.
And
I mean,
it's
they
not
don't
just-
have enough calcium in their bones.
And it's not just calcium. I mean, honestly, magnesium is one of the bigger minerals that makes a difference in bone density.
And you can only
as well.
eat so many bananas. So.
And no, actually, bananas isn't magnesium. Actually, that's potassium.
Potassium.
You're thinking of
sorry.
potassium.
That's
I'm
okay.
thinking potassium. I know it was one of those SEAMs, so.
One of
Now,
those,
speaking of that, we always tell people avocados are a much better source of potassium than bananas.
Big bowl of guacamole. That's
Hey, you
that's
can't go wrong.
there you go.
Avocados is a better food. It doesn't give you the sugar that the bananas give you, and at the same time, it's about 4 times the amount of potassium. So when people tend to say they need potassium and they want to get it from their food, avocados is definitely a better source.
And even nuts and seeds are a good source too.
Yeah.
You know, they give us a lot of.
They do have you magnesium is probably one of the bigger sources for magnesium is your nuts and seeds. But one of the problems with magnesium and all minerals is they're finding out our soil has been depleted. So the way that the plants and things get the minerals themselves is from the soil that they grow in. So if that soil is depleted, then that plant is also going to be depleted in that mineral. So that's one reason why we're seeing more mineral deficiencies is because the soil is depleted. So
And most of these minerals are really hard to digest and absorb. And then you throw in I know we've talked about it on other shows about the acid reducers. All right, you take an acid reducer and you're further depleting yourself, of these minerals. And these minerals are so important. It's not just bone. I mean, bone's probably one of our least
yeah, we
problems.
don't have to have bone density to survive.
No, but without those minerals, that
Yeah, but
heart
it seems
can't
a lot
beat.
easier to break a leg or
Well, it
something
is.
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
it
Well,
is.
yeah,
I
I
mean, you
mean,
want
no
your
doubt.
bones to be strong. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you really don't have to. That's one reason why the body will pull stuff from the bones in order to keep it everywhere else, because you have to have it. Like calcium is a buffer in the bloodstream. It actually keeps the acid-alkaline balance in the bloodstream. So the body's going to try to always keep that alkalinity in the bloodstream, so it has to. So it'll pull it from the bones. It'll say, you know what, don't have to have strong bones to keep alive, but you do have to keep your blood at a certain buffer. Now, he mentioned that blood test is not always the best way of telling. We always tell people, if you show low, you're definitely deficient.
No doubt.
Just because you're normal does not mean you are. Now, there are some advanced testing. No question, there's advanced testing to actually, it gets a little bit more expensive, where they actually are testing the minerals in the cells themselves. And so we do have that testing, but it is a little bit more pricey.
Well, Bob has a question from Gulfport. Do you have anything for BPH?
Yes.
It's the prostatic hypertrophy or swelling of the prostate. Sure do. I mean, we've got several things, Bob. One of the, the one thing that you hear an awful lot of talk about, and it's been researched quite a bit, and that's the saw palmetto. And we found over the years, we've got a saw palmetto formula that's got saw palmetto, it's got nettle, it's stinging nettle, it's got pygeum and stuff in it. It's really got more anti-inflammatory effects, and it tends to work very well. And there's the flower pollens, there's quite a few things that can actually help that.
We find the saw palmetto by itself doesn't always do it, but
No.
the combinations really do well. And we're talking
Really
about
do.
minerals too, and zinc is a very important mineral for the
Right.
benign prostatic hypertrophy, which is what BPH
What
stands
BPH
for.
is, right. Yeah.
But zinc is very important, which is a lot of times you'll see pumpkin seed oil in a lot of formulas, because the oil of pumpkin seed is really high in zinc, which is really important for the prostate.
Okay.
So if you start looking at these minerals, they're more than just bone, they
Yeah.
are for the prostate, it's for thyroid health.
Iodine, for
Yeah.
instance. Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk more about that when we come back. 896-0713, 800-349-0713. And welcome back to our Monday morning live edition of Healthy Living South Mississippi. Live healthy, be healthy, with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox of Doctors Nutrition on Cowan Road in Gulfport. This is our Monday morning live show, which you can call in and ask questions regarding your health. We're trying to help you live a healthier lifestyle, and today we're talking about minerals and how important they are for you. Dave from Biloxi wants to know, should I consult with my doctor before taking minerals?
If you're a normal, healthy person, probably not.
If it's
However,
if it's a small dosage
Yeah.
of just like a multi-mineral,
Sure.
then you're usually okay.
but you don't want to, anytime, I
Yeah.
mean, if you've got a health condition that you're, to begin with, in other words, if you're seeing a physician for another reason,
yes.
always consult before you start taking anything, really.
Right, and
Let's
speaking
find
of
out.
minerals, I mean, there's some of them, like iron.
be
Iron,
taken, right.
people over the years, for some reason, have heard, oh, if you're tired, just take iron. Well, that's not always true. And iron can become toxic if you get too much. And selenium can get toxic if you get too
Certainly
much. Minerals can get toxic at high levels. And potassium, we know that you can get too much potassium. So if your levels are high in the bloodstream of potassium, you absolutely do not want to take potassium. So
Right.
you do want blood tests. You do want to know what it is you're taking. You don't want to just randomly take high doses of everything.
And we
Yep.
know that there's probably a lot of you that are out there, and they mentioned something like a few moments ago, a gentleman talking about the prostate. You were saying, well, saw palmetto. Before, and we've talked about this so many times, before you run out to your big box store and say, let me find some saw palmetto and
Yeah.
everything, keep in mind, and we've talked about this so many times, that you're not going to get everything in there that you really think that you're going to get in there, because they put so many different fillers and things in there. That's why over at Doctor's Nutrition, you're going to get the best concentration of what's best for you, because you can take from what you end up buying at the big box store, you may have to take 10 of to equal
right. to get
one
enough. Right,
of
and
what
that's
you really
that's
need.
one reason why you want to take stuff that's more directed for what you need. Because even we mentioned that most people can take a multi-mineral. There is a group that can. Actually, kidney patients. If you have chronic kidney disease and your kidneys aren't functioning and you're on dialysis, mineral balance is really rough
Can
with
be
them.
real hard to do,
And
yeah.
so, like magnesium can build up. Where most people, magnesium will just give you
Phosphorus.
diarrhea if you get too much. Phosphorus will build up. So there's a lot of things that you have to watch with certain conditions, and that's why if you come, we can help you out on what you might need, and also, find out, do some lab work, find out what you do need.
Exactly, exactly, and that's why we've reiterated so many
Yeah.
times that whenever you go see them, you don't need an appointment. Might have to wait a few minutes because they do have, and especially on Monday morning by the time you get there, 10
Monday's a
o'clock.
little tough,
Oh, yeah.
But you don't need an appointment, and consultation is always free. So and that's wonderful. And one of the other great things I want to recommend too, if you've had some recent lab work done, bring it with you.
Right.
Bring it for the doctors to look at.
That's real important.
And if you haven't had lab work done, they can do it there for you. Brooke is the best at sticking you with a needle.
Pretty good.
That's good.
But now we were talking about some of the I want to talk about some of the biggest deficiencies that people see. Now magnesium, we mentioned kidney patients can't do it, but most other people can. Magnesium is one of those really high deficiencies, and it is one that is depleted in the soil, they know, and it's important in like 300 different processes in the body. So with it being so important for so many things, and it helps with blood pressure control, it helps
really
with
does.
muscles, it helps with relaxation, it can even help with anxiety. So, I mean, it can relaxing, sleeping at night, magnesium plays a role in all that. So magnesium is one of those that, and it's not the best one to check in the bloodstream, unfortunately. What you want to check with someone about, and you can come talk to us, is if there's a reason you can't take magnesium.
Right.
And that's really, most people can take it. There's a few conditions where you can't. So that's kind of where you want somebody else's opinion and actually helping even the ask your doctor, because there are certain things, and like I said, if you have a condition where you have too much iron, taking iron could actually kill you.
Certainly can.
Wow.
Right. Now, if you need iron, nothing else is going to help but iron, because you're going to have anemias and you're going to have fatigue. And so many of the minerals, when they're depleted, make fatigue. That's one of the symptoms that you see with almost every mineral when it's depleted is fatigue. And iodine is another big one. Now, iodine, worldwide, probably almost a 70% deficiency in iodine.
Yeah.
Elizabeth from Moss Point, is there something I should take as far as minerals, I'm sure, while pregnant?
Well, definitely during pregnancy, we always suggest a prenatal vitamin. Prenatals are made specifically for pregnant women, and they're lacking things that you shouldn't take, and they have things like our prenatal is very strong in iron, because most pregnant women do need more iron, and that's one of the things you want to make sure you take. Some of the new research on pregnant women is that they need K2, and K2 is lacking a lot. So that's one thing that you see, and we always recommend like fish oil. But you don't want to take too many things pregnant, because a lot of the herbals and things like that, you got to be careful with pregnancy.
Right. And talking about bone density too, though, Jim, one of the research is telling us, if you're concerned about bone density, don't wait till you're 65 and have your
Right.
first DEXA scan. Actually, they show that the people, the females especially, that actually have the best bone density that starts in the teens and early 20s. That's when you build your bones. And if they're not built properly by then, so for our kids, in other words, we need to make sure that they're getting proper minerals and building those good strong bones, so that when they get to be 55, 60 years old, they don't have the osteopenia and osteoporosis.
Right. And pregnant women, there's been a lot of studies, and when they actually are checking people during pregnancy, a lot of times they do show osteopenia during pregnancy, because they are lacking calcium and magnesium. So calcium and magnesium are minerals that are very safe to take during pregnancy. So we do have a lot of pregnant women that can take that as well. So it just depends on the person. I say everybody's a little bit different in the condition, and some women have to take extra iron even on top of a prenatal while they're pregnant, but you can tell that by lab work. Definitely,
I was going to say,
iron does show up on lab work pretty
running into.
accurately, right? So you do have to check for iron and ferritin on pregnant women to see if they need more. And most of the OBs out there do that regularly. When you go to your OB, they're going to check those kind of things, because it is so important during pregnancy.
Okay. 896-0713, 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open to you. If you have a question for the doctors, whether you want to ask them yourself or if you want to pass the question along to our operator. We'll be back in just a moment with our final segment and this week's special. And welcome back to our final segment this morning of Healthy Living South Mississippi's Live Healthy, Be Healthy, our Monday morning live show with Drs. Jim and Janine Fox of Doctors Nutrition on Cowan Road in Gulfport, south of Pass Road. Again, they're open Monday through Saturday, Monday through Friday from 10 to 5:30, Saturdays from 11 to 2. Jim and Janine are there on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and Dr. Mays is there on Wednesdays and Fridays. So did that all in one breath.
You did it.
How
Yeah.
about that? Isn't that great? But anyway, of course, as we mentioned, the show's all about health, living a healthier lifestyle. Special this week.
Well, the special is minerals. What
Minerals,
else, right?
Imagine that.
Right.
Yeah, citramins is a type of multi-mineral, and we have it with iron and without iron. And for those that need iron, you can get it with it. If you don't, we've got one without. Really good, especially this time of year. We get a lot of folks in South Mississippi, and let's face it, if you get outside in South Mississippi in this time of year,
Yeah.
you're going to sweat.
Sweat a lot, yes.
And you start having muscle cramps and so on. And we have a lot of folks that seasonally take this.
Now, you used to hear people that would say years ago that would get outside, sweat a lot, and this and that, take salt tablets.
Well, that's giving you sodium.
And salt can be sometimes be the problem. I always tell people you don't want to just go take salt tabs unless you know your salt is low. Now, if your salt is low, then yes, it can actually help with muscle cramping. If not, now this does not have salt in it, but it is a multi-mineral. So it's your other mineral and electrolytes. And it is to where, most people can take it.
Yeah.
And you don't want the iron unless you know that you're anemic. So we have it with and without iron. But we sell a lot of it in the summer to people that work outside and work construction. We find that people don't even tend to take vitamins or anything come in and get that for the summer because they say it can make a big difference in keeping that muscle cramp away.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
Myrtle from Gulfport's on the phone this morning. Good morning, Myrtle. You have a question for the doctors?
Yes, I do. I want to know if they have anything for UTI.
We do. We do have something that works in 90% of the cases for UTIs, and there's that 10% that it doesn't work on depending on which bacteria it is. It's actually called D-mannose, and it's a type of a sugar that the body can't absorb, and what it does is it goes through and it's excreted through the kidneys, and it attracts the bacteria and flushes it out. And it works really well, and it's totally safe to take with any medication. You can take it as a diabetic because the sugar itself does not get absorbed into the body. So that's what we use a lot for UTIs, especially with people that get them all the time. We can do even a maintenance dose, but if you actually have a UTI, we use a higher dose at the time.
All right. Thank you very much for your call, Myrtle. 896-0713, 800-349-0713. We still have a few minutes left in which you can call in with your question regarding health, whether it's talking about minerals or anything in particular that you're having some issues with that you want to ask the doctors about. You're welcome to do so. And as you said, this time of the year, people are getting out there. They're sweating a lot. They're working a lot, or and everything.
Even working in the yard. Whatever,
exactly, exactly. So it is very important to make sure that you keep the proper vitamins, proper minerals, or whatever in your body, because as you said, you
and
get
stay hydrated.
muscle, and stay hydrated. Very important,
right?
Because minerals alone aren't going to do it if you don't have any fluid with it. So,
and that's why it's so important to eat, what we call real food. Your vegetables, meats, nuts and seeds, things like that, because that's what staying away from the packaged processed foods, because what they do with the packaged processed foods is, first off, it's probably grown in soil that doesn't have any minerals left in it anyhow. And then they process it further, so there's more taken out of it. So by the time you get it, you're not getting much for it.
Yeah, so
you want real food. Right?
Eating a real food diet is another way of keeping your minerals up, because at least you're getting live food.
Like this time of year, real tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
They're coming.
They're coming soon.
That's right. I mean, there's so many great farmers markets here along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I know the one they have in D'Iberville all the time. There's one under the bridge in Biloxi on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Gulfport on Wednesdays.
So Rose from Pasch Christian is on the phone with a question. Good morning, Rose. What's your question for the doctors?
What do you have to make your cholesterol go down?
Okay, for cholesterol, we do have a compound we use the most. It's called Choleast. And it is a red rice yeast extract, and it does work really well at lowering cholesterol. We also have a polycosanol, we have the phorestrol. So we have a few different products for that, but the one that probably works the best is Choleast.
Right.
All right, thank you very much for your call, Rose. 896-0713, 800-349-0713. Just have a few minutes left. Our final segment this morning of Live Healthy, Be Healthy with Jim and Janine Fox of Doctors Nutrition. But like you said, it's so important that you make sure that you keep these minerals, because they, I mean, there's so many different effects on so many different areas of our body.
Well, just like I was mentioning iodine before, and thyroid is so important for iodine, but they've also shown that iodine deficiency can increase fibrocysts in the breast, and some newer research, they say there needs to be more research, could even increase the risk of cancer for having an iodine deficiency, breast cancer that is. So they're finding a big link with that. They find that if women with the breast fibrocyst, 70% will actually be better with taking iodine with the cyst. And so there's a lot of research going on right now with iodine and breast health.
And of course,
and thyroid, everybody thinks of iodine and thyroid, but I mean, breast health is something people don't think about.
Carol from Gulfport's got a question for us. Good morning, Carol. What's your question for the doctors?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I hear a lot about I think it's curcumin or something of that nature. What about turmeric? This says it's got that in it, that substance in it.
Turmeric is the...
Actually, curcumin is the active ingredient in turmeric.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
so it is the same. If you're going to get curcumins, they're actually from turmeric. Now, some turmeric may be not standardized for curcumins. And if you get the standardization for curcumins, it's probably a little stronger because that's what works in the turmeric.
We got a whole show coming up on
Herbs, right.
And-
Yeah, we got
in the very near
in a
future.
couple weeks there'll be a show on herbs too, but that's one of the things, a lot of people, we have that question a lot though about the turmeric and the curcumin because it can be confusing, but it is the active ingredient.
All right, and I wanted to ask you, D3, 2,000 units, is 3 of those a day too much?
Go ahead.
You never know. I mean, that's why you want to get it checked, Carol,
Yes.
because we've got a lot of people that would be equal to about 6,000
Right.
units. A lot of people, take 6,000 a day.
We have many people that take that much, but we say 2,000 is safe without testing. If you're taking 6,000, you need to have it tested occasionally just to make sure you're not getting too much.
Just to make sure where you are, right.
Okay. Thank you, Carol, for your call. Sarah from Helena is now on the phone with us with a question for the doctors. Good morning, Sarah. What's your question? Oh, Sarah hung up.
Okay.
Okay.
Guess she got a little camera shy or mic shy.
Mic shy,
Or
right,
something like that.
Sorry about that, Sarah. That's a really interesting thing about the curcumins and stuff, because we are going to have a whole show, a couple of
Right.
weeks now, just on that, because that's part of that series that we're talking about. We did the vitamins, we're doing the minerals.
And next week, we're going to be doing the amino acids.
Yeah.
Okay.
So next week, and amino acids, people think of maybe just for the muscles, but amino acids are the foundation for the brain chemistry.
Really?
And so when you start talking about mood and mental disorders and even the way people think and act and everything else,
There's a lot of people out there that'll be paying attention to that one.
amino
Yes.
acids play a
You're
huge
so
role.
moody. You're so moody.
Yeah, so next week that's
Hook
what
you
we're going to
up.
be talking.
That's true.
There's even some places in New Orleans that's doing IV amino acid infusions for drug withdrawal.
Wow.
Because it can help the brain chemistry, and of course we know
Yeah.
all drug withdrawal. But they're like I said, those places are usually. I've not seen any around here, but New Orleans there is one.
Well, I know there's I can't think of the name of it, but that's okay. I don't want to give them a free plug. There's a business around here that does the IVs as far as in you to, I don't know, it changes, it does something to you for those who maybe having a hangover or kind of.
okay.
A lot of times that's vitamins. They
Yeah.
usually use a lot of the B vitamins for that. But, and you don't have to IV the B vitamins. B vitamins help, although the best way not to have a hangover is not to drink too
Not
much.
to drink too much. Or if you're going to
Best
drink.
solution for it.
Or as I've always been told, if you're going to drink, have a beverage and then
Yeah.
have some water.
Right.
And then whatever. Rosie of Biloxi on the phone. We got a couple of minutes left. Good morning, Rosie. What's your question for the doctors?
I have, I'm a diabetic and I take medicine, like my regular diabetes medicine. And,
All right.
You there?
yes, I take the quinapril, like 40 milligrams, and the omeprazole, 20 milligrams. And I wanted to know if I can mix them, and I take, I don't have this all together.
Well, if you want, just
levothyroxine.
okay. Yeah, which is thyroid.
Okay, and then I take vitamins. I take zinc by 50 milligrams
Okay.
and
Okay.
vitamins. Is that okay to do that, to take with my regular medicine and take vitamins too?
Well, yeah, and it really, like we talked about before, there's things that you can, some people don't need to take, so it just depends on what exactly you're taking, and you can call us and we can work specifically with you.
Yeah, I think
but
that's
I
probably
do
the
say
best,
that,
yeah.
minerals are definitely safe to take with medications
You just don't wanna
because
take
your
them
body
same
has to
time.
have them, right, and sometimes not take them at the same time, especially when it's antibiotics and minerals because
And
the
or that
minerals
thyroid.
right and thyroid. You never want to take minerals with your thyroid. So it depends on, a lot of times you got to take them so many hours apart. So if you call us directly, we'll help you better on your
Right.
specific.
Okay, what's your number to call there?
897-0070.
Yep.
That's 897-0070. Rosie, we got to run, but or you can stop by and visit the doctors. Again, they're located on Cowan Road in Gulfport, just south of Pass Road, across the street from the old Kmart there, Doctor's Nutrition. They're open today at 10 o'clock. Again, tomorrow, next week, we'll be talking about amino acids.
Yep.
Right.
So have a great day. Live healthy, be healthy, quit eating all that processed stuff, and have a healthier lifestyle. We'll see you next week.